Okay, so welcome to the house. This is a house that was built, we believe, in the late 1880s, roughly. So this is called the Chartreuse, which is also why our YouTube channel is called Restoring la Chartreuse. And for those who don't know, Chartreuse, a type of homes that are specific to the southwest of France. And so they have usually this kind of like symmetrical shape with windows on both sides of the front door, this elevated entrance with our nice steps here. And then you also usually have all these decorative details on the facade, but kind of like Greco-Roman inspired types of details. All of that really contributed to why we fell in love with the house when we first viewed it. But there also some nice history to it. So apparently this house was built by the first violinist of the Bordeaux Orchestra. And so that's why you have some nice little musical details across the facade. So we've got this lute at the top, and then we also have this little harp. When we first viewed the house, it was in disrepair for about 2 decades. One of the projects I'm most proud of is that we managed to save the front door, which is the original front door. We worked with a local Bordeaux company called Renovating, and they managed to not only save the door but insulate it, make it safe because it wasn't closing anymore. They were able to restore completely, the knocker and the little details in cast iron on it. And then I also painted it, and we managed to find the perfect paint that was the closest to the original color. And I think this is a royal blue by little green. So we really, really like it. And it's very striking. And I think it really gives a very strong identity to the house. Okay, so welcome into the house. This is the hallway, and this was, like the rest of the house, in quite a state. This had some very misshapen walls with slopping plaster to the bottom. It had some cracked, beautiful but very cracked and broken moldings on the ceiling. It had this horrible tiles from the 70s, these kind of yellow, dirty looking tiles. So we had to make a decision here, and we ripped out quite a lot of the features that were already in the hallway. So we created the ceiling and the new moldings to avoid having to restore the original ones, because there was a bit of a lost cause, to be honest. To fix the walls, we created this paneling, so with wood tassels and then plasterboards, and then just some moldings that we stuck on it, which really dress the hallway quite nicely and breaks down a bit, this really tall walls that we have on each side. And then for me, the key to this room were the floors. Since we ripped out the original tiles, we decided to go for this checkered black and white pattern. So these tiles are actually from a British company called Original Styles. They specialize in kind of these Victorian patterns. But the reason we like them is because obviously they bring back, some of the grandeur and traditional style to the house, but also they both look British and French. So that was quite a nice touch to it. And the final thing was obviously the paint choices. We went for old white on the walls by Farrow & Ball, and I really, really like it. Actually, I think this is my favorite color so far in the house. And at some point, Hugo had to stop me because I wanted to put it everywhere. It looks really, really nice at any point of the day. And so this was really a big success once we finished this project.
Now we are in the kitchen dining room area, which is one of the areas that has changed the most in the house, I would say. It structurally has been transformed. Where I'm standing right now used to be a large wall that separated the kitchen and the dining room, but we decided that we wanted to get rid of that and make it open and nice and bright. So we took that down and put a structural beam across here. Again, also in this area, there was a large door here, but which was in a terrible, terrible state. And again, we made the decision to remove this, rebuild the wall here, and put this window in because we wanted to keep enough space for the kitchen countertops. Also, the ceiling or the roof in this extension area that was added on a little bit later in the history of the house was in really bad repair. It had a tree fallen on it in the last 20 years or so, and there were huge holes in the roof, and lots of water damage and moisture. So we had to completely rebuild the whole roof there, which was a nightmare. Fuck's sake. That is way bigger than I thought.
Yeah, It's way bigger than it was earlier.
Again, also, the area to the pantry, we basically decided to knock that wall through and create one long galley-style kitchen to the pantry so that we could have more space and move easier in the room. So the actual kitchen here was a labor of love. This is an area which we spent a lot of time and effort on. We fell in love with a brand called Devol Kitchens, and unfortunately Devol Kitchens was a bit out of our price, it was very, very out of our price range. So we decided that we wanted to build these units completely from scratch ourselves. Everything here is completely handmade. It was actually the first woodworking project that I did, and it was a big achievement for me to do. And I think they turned out pretty good. But in order to make the kitchen space feel a little bit more elevated, we added little bits and pieces from brands that we love and we adore that we could actually afford. So these wonderful lights that you can see up here are from Devol, and also the tap here is from Devol. And these beautiful handles which we got from a Cancalerie or a hardware store in Bordeaux really add some beautiful, beautiful look to the kitchen. And of course, in the center of the kitchen, we have the range cooker, which is from a brand called Loffer. It's a really beautiful piece, and it's something that kind of we think really brings the whole kitchen together. The kitchen splashback, Romy lovingly placed and grouted and is we adore. And whilst over there where you are, it looks like this is an actual green splashback. Actually, the tiles are actually a crackled, mottled beige colour, but they absorb the lovely colour that we have throughout the kitchen. So this gives this kind of monochrome atmosphere to the kitchen, which we love and thinks it gives a bit more of a modern vibe to the kitchen with the traditional feel of the units. So as you can see, the scullery/pantry area is a bit of a work in progress. The idea is that we would extend down the same built-in cabinets that we have here for the kitchen, cover the fridge over so it's a built-in, and have some built-in cabinets here for pantry stuff like spices, etc. And then we'd have like a little laundry area which would probably have some kind of shelving here, etc. So yeah, it's still a work in progress. And we will hopefully get to this soon, but it's less of a priority right now because it's quite functional, etc. And it works for us, although it doesn't look amazing.
Okay, so moving on from the kitchen into the dining room, we initially painted this room yellow and then we changed our mind and we settled on this green, which is the Eddie by Farrow & Ball, and it works really nicely. We loved it so much we carried it through into the kitchen. Another big design decision that we had to make really were these floors. So we had to replace all the floors in the house. And for this floor, we really wanted to bring, I guess, some organic material to it. And we also wanted something that was local to the region we're in. So we settled on the terracotta floor. It's actually called a tomate in French. It's really beautiful. It was a pain to install because these tiles are handmade, so they're quite uneven, and we did it ourselves as usual. And it's also a bit hard to maintain. You have to use specific products, but it does look very good. It brings some warmth to this room that I think it would lack otherwise with its high ceilings, and it looks really nice with a blue kitchen. So just like in the corridor, in this room, because we did the insulation on all the external walls, we had to say goodbye to the original molding. So we spent a bit of time trying to recreate moldings in each room, and you can see some of them here. It's not finished because we need to add some more in the center of the room once we get a chandelier or a light fixture that we like installed. But that was really important to recreate, the original charm of the house, and also trying to bring the ceiling down a little bit because we have almost 4 meters of ceiling height in here. One of the biggest transformations throughout the project was when we actually got this door installed. Initially, there was a door here, but it was condemned. There was like a big chest of drawers that was covering it. The initial owner didn't replace this door for, I think, about 10 years. So when we bought this house, we never saw this door opened. And so I will remember forever when we came into the house. It was still a huge work in progress. There were builders everywhere, but they had this installed, and for the first time we could see the light coming from the garden into this room, and it changed everything. So This was custom made because it's very tall and it's very narrow for some reason, but because this is external wall, we couldn't really extend it out. But it looks really nice and we're very happy as well with the color of it. When it came to finishing this room, we really wanted to go with second-hand pieces. So we found, the table, chairs, and this really amazing buffet from a local brocante, and we're very, very happy with it. They don't fully match, but that was a bit the idea. We bring a rustic feel, but also kind of like a modern feel to it. And we still need to finish, not quite a few pieces, but so far we're really happy about how they dress up the room quite nicely. Okay, so moving into the living room. This room is a north-facing room, so it gets quite dark here, but we actually wanted to lean into that. This is a room that we mainly use only in the evening, so we decided to go for quite a dark, heavy pattern wallpaper. So this is a William Morris wallpaper. It's called Vine. And I really like, the black background of it, the green of the leaves that, go really nicely with the green in the dining room. So it kind of like matches, but this creates also a contrast. And then we really liked as well the little nod to the grapes and obviously the border region where we're in. We did changes to these modern, very energy efficient windows, but we did think they didn't look very nice and we missed some of the charm. So Hugo actually built this window frame with some moldings and creating a windowsill, which is very nice for Phoebe over here to watch the birds outside. And I think it really ties the room nicely with the moldings that we added on, and alongside as well the moldings that we are currently adding to the bookshelf here. And so this is a current ongoing project. So Hugo is building these custom bookshelves and cabinets. And so the plan is to have these units replicated on this wall here to cover, the area that's currently the stone wall. There will be enough space to put and maybe hide our TV a little bit, and also lots of space for all of our books and knickknacks. Another big mention as well for the fireplace. So we actually did quite a lot of changes to the fireplace. There used to be a fireplace, a mantle that was semi-marble and also quite a lot of plaster actually, and that was going quite far out, so probably about here. So it was taking up quite a lot of room in this space, so we decided to get rid of it. And instead what we're planning to do in the future is probably to create a custom mantelpiece in wood, which will be a bit smaller, and also potentially putting a little wood burner unit here, but definitely not a priority here since we have quite mild winters in Bordeaux. Let's talk about the radiators. These were quite a big win for us actually, because these are the original radiators in the house. So the house when we bought it didn't have any functioning heating for about 10 years. So we were not super confident that these will still work. It was one of our first projects trying to restore them. So we cleaned them, sent them down, which was very, very labor intensive. And then we painted them with, heat-proof paint. And during the process, I was not super confident it would work out, but it did. And I'm very happy with them. They do look great and they work great, which is, I guess, the main point. And that saved us a lot of money, actually. Probably, I think we spent about 300 euros in supplies for this project. When we know that a cast iron radiator of that size is probably, about 600, 700 euros minimum. So we did save a lot because we were able to reuse about 10 radiators that were already in the house.
Okay, so this is our bathroom, which is another room which changed quite drastically from when we first saw the place. Originally, where I'm standing right now, there was actually another separated toilet. And then the bath was along where I'm standing here. It was a terrible 70s style green tub kind of thing. And then we had the sink over here. And the window was some kind of those horrible 70s glass blocks thing. So it was a really difficult room for us to visualize. We had a lot of problems designing this space. What we ended up doing, basically break down everything and kind of create this separation for this walk-in shower, which we've always really wanted. And it was kind of a really big must for the room. And then in this space here, in order to keep it a bit more cozy, a bit more charming, let's say, we wanted to put this wood cladding around the space to give it this more color and give it a nicer feel. And this cladding is actually reused from upstairs. This was a niche. This was actually designed to clad the walls in the rafters upstairs, but we've reused it down here, painted it and given it a nicer tone for this bathroom. Other pieces to note in this space is this kind of vanity area here. This vanity we got from another brocante in the area, and we redid it to make it into a vanity. This granite top was built custom to the vanity size, and then we put in the sink. Whilst the space is semi-finished, we still have a lot of stuff to do here. We want to put in some more shelving around the toilet area to give us some more space for linens, etc. And also put some more shelving on this side to give us more storage. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Okay, so this is our bedroom, and as you can see for now, it is just functional. It does the trick. It is not designed. This room, we had to do quite a lot of not fun work to it. So the previous owners had created some kind of like walk-in closet that was added onto the outside, made of like concrete and asbestos. So they created a tiny door here, and then this kind of like construction was added onto a facade. Obviously, we took that down and we closed the wall. We also had a huge water mold issue on these walls. There were like water was seeping in from the walls. So we had to tear down all the plaster, redo all the walls to have a room that was just livable. The big thing for us here, our focus was on the floors. So this is, with the office, the only room that still has the original wood floors. So this is pine, which is very common in the southwest of France. So we had to restore it quite a lot. So we did sand it down and then oil it to get it to be with this finish. And I'm very happy we managed to save at least some floors from the original house. We do have big plans for this room, even though it won't be our main bedroom. But we are planning to build some custom cupboards, so that will be framing the bed with an embedded headboard to really try to save space as much as possible. I don't know when we'll get to it, but I'm excited for it and get rid of these.
Okay, so now we're getting into the really unrenovated space in the house. This is currently our workshop / DIY space in the house. Is where we do all the projects, all the messy work that we bring into the rest of the renovation. Right now, this is obviously bare bones. We haven't done any work to it other than plastering and insulating the interior walls. But in future, we hope to make this place our kind of office area. So with 2 desks that Romy and I can both work in the house at. And we plan to do a lot of built-in units here and kind of cocoon the space with a lot of colour. We're thinking some kind of darker colours like you've seen in the rest of the house. Because again, this is north facing. We don't get a lot of light here and we want to make it as cozy as possible. On the stair side, going to be some big cupboards here that encapsulate the stairs and make it like a one big piece all the way up to the ceiling. The plan is to colour drench all of the stairs, again with the same colour as the room, so we have this nice cozy cocoon space which we can do some work in. Okay, then let's continue upstairs. So this is the second floor and is really the place we have not done any work at all. Actually, that's not strictly true. When we originally came in here, they had it in a very bizarre layout with lots of different walls everywhere and kind of these weird cupboards in lots of different locations, electrics everywhere. So we decided just to knock down everything, create an open space that we can at least use as a storage for the time being. The plan for this space in the future is that we want to make this our main bedroom. So where I am standing right now is going to be a big parental suite with the 2 windows behind us. And then moving onto the left-hand side, we're going to have an ensuite bathroom. And then this space over here will be a second bedroom. But for the short term, we plan to just keep this space open plan so that we can just maximize the space as much as possible and then add on rooms when we need to. All of this insulation that you see around us and the walls will have to go. We have to replace it. The insulation is okay for the winter, but in the summer, this place is just extremely hot. So we basically have to redo all of this insulation in order to make it a lot of a cooler space in the summer. The plan is to keep all of these rafters exposed. We like the look of this kind of rustic style wood on the rafters, but the walls, remove this wood and plaster it. And then the idea is to cover it with, again, some kind of cozier, nicer wallpaper. As this place up here is a little bit smaller, it's a little bit more our private area. We want to make it, again, that kind of cozier space. I think that's about it for up here. Anything else?